Yeah, I watched our last Zoom meeting to put the minutes together. This makes my hair look really gray. Zoom call.
It's the Zoom.
It must be the lighting.
Right.
Okay, you're all
What's with
set.
that? Who's that old guy?
You're good to go.
All right, good. We'll call the meeting to order. Attendance. Quorum. We have a quorum. You got the attendance. All right, next item is review and approval of minutes from 11/18/2025. And you may want to take a look at these, because like I said, I pieced these together from the call.
We try.
Well, it was I dumped just about everything into the Harbor Masters report. So there were a couple of things we talked about. Well, but there weren't any,
Great.
see, the way this is supposed to work, like new business, old business, if we're gonna vote on something and make a recommendation or something, that's where we need to keep that stuff. But if we're not recommending things, as long as we kind of,
Well, they have a tendency to, because it's such a continuous thing down there, things overlap.
yeah, they do. That's right. So, it's, as long as we just record what's going on, so if we can look back at some point and figure out what we talked about, I think that's the
Right.
important thing. Which our distinguished secretary has been doing a great job, by the way. Don't think I'm trying to get the job.
You can have it.
That's what I mean. Don't think I'm trying to get it. So, any discussion on the minutes?
Motion to
Somebody
approve.
wants to say that they're the best minutes they've ever read, they could say that. Okay, motion, we have a motion, second,
You did.
all right. All those in favor, unanimous? Excellent. All right, public comment,
My daughter wouldn't dare speak up.
it's your chance. It's your chance. Anybody on, you're right, we do need to check Zoom, thank you. Anybody on Zoom?
No.
No?
Anybody? Nobody's on it.
No.
Anybody out in the hallway?
Things to do with their life.
They watch the live stream YouTube like next day or so.
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting stuff. All right, then moving right along to item number 5, the Harbor Masters report. Always
All
something going
right,
on.
well, I only have a few items. I did finally make contact with the Army Corps of Engineers on dredging.
Now that you're back.
Right, now that they're back, it looks,
Actually, they never left. For
Sabbatical.
them, they never took time.
yeah, that's kind of what
They
they
just
said.
They're dedicated.
They weren't returning calls and stuff, but
They just didn't get paid, that's all. Yeah.
so I did talk to them and it is they understand there is a problem in the Scarborough River as far as dredging. They are very concerned that we dredged in 3 years ago and it's at the point it is now. It was 2023. Yeah. So they did quantify with a survey last May or June that it is in significant shape, rough shape.
Yeah.
So they are trying to devise a plan. There is, the work supposedly is gonna start in Saco on this finger pier in April.
Mhm.
Is that like right at Camp Ellis?
It's gonna be off of camp, halfway down the jetty. I think they're just gonna put like another jetty out. Like towards Pine Point, coming at us.
Oh, not necessarily dredge. They're actually gonna put.
Well, there's a plan to put
Granite?
a granite jetty in, and I don't have the plans. And then do a beach replenishment was the plan. And I don't know what.
There he is.
I don't know what the beach replenishment looks like. She basically said there was a plan to do beach replenishment in 2027. But they were really not, they didn't have a definitive plan of whether they're going to truck sand in, if they're gonna bring it in from a barge, if they were gonna come to Scarborough and vacuum it up and then pump it onto the beach.
I'm sure, yeah.
There's at the same time, I had the conversation to her prior to that. I had a discussion with the Pine Point Association. A few of those people down there were really interested in seeing if they could receive some sand onto the beach. So I expressed that to her. She was gonna talk to Craig Martin, who manages our area. He's the project manager for Scarborough. And they were gonna have a discussion and call me back. And I talked to her on Thursday of last week. So she said, give her a week or so, but they do know that there is a priority in Scarborough. And they do know that they're trying to come up with a plan, whether they emergency dredge it or it gets
Mhm.
earmarked for the 2027 beach replenishment in Saco.
So if we could somehow get on the schedule of maintenance dredge.
So it's already
Constant,
scheduled.
Every other year, maintenance dredge,
So-
whatever it needs to be, right?
I asked if we could up the schedule of how we dredge,
Mhm.
and right now it's every 7 to 10 years based on survey.
Yeah.
And I told Jen,
And we got,
That's not gonna work.
I said to Jen, I said, we got not even a full 2 years out of it. And she had sent me some imagery, or she's gonna send me the imagery of the survey that just was conducted.
Okay.
So the biggest, she identified that the biggest area is right by Counselor Doty's boat. That's the area where it's just,
no, that's bad.
it's silting in that channel.
It's also bad, out by the yacht club.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't bump there, but it won't be long before I.
so as soon as I have the imagery, I'll share it. But it is high on the radar screen. And she knows that I told her to bring as many buckets as she wants, and she can have as much sand as she wanted, so.
Right.
Is there a reason that they don't? Like, if you go to the Carolinas and you go to Florida, the barge just goes down the entire length and throws it all up on the beach, and then they just bulldoze it off again and redo an area. Like Anna Maria or any place like that. Is it because of Maine that we don't do it that way, or is it?
Great question. I don't know.
Couple things, history is owned by the yacht club. It's actually the best it's ever been. Because the sandbar has slowly gone towards the yacht club. And it made the river narrower, because the Army Corps always has to stay on their spot, where they've dredged before. But they've slowly relinquished that, because it's just taken over, it's so much sand to move, which has actually worked out good. Because when they made it wide, it would fill in quick.
Yeah.
And we'd have bigger breakers too, because the further away from the point of the neck you get, the more the rolls would be. Whereas now you're tucked in behind.
Okay.
So up there is better, but it is filling in, and it will, I guess. And another one up there, every dredge company that's been there said it's just alive there. There's a spring, actual spring or something. When they dredge up through there, where it fills in worse and it fills right back in. The other thing is too, when they were putting it on Western Beach, I mean, they pumped a lot out there. But with the coming tide, the silt, I mean, you could see the clam flats getting covered with sand, because when they were pumping, the sand was coming right back up the river.
So they acknowledge that.
Yeah,
They acknowledge that. I said to Jen, I think part of the problem is you're pumping it on Western Beach, the tide's coming in. And it grabs the sand, and what it does is it funnels it into Ferry Rock, and as soon as it opens back up, it just drops it right there because of velocity.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, it's funny you say that, because Craig and I had that conversation." And I was like, "Well, can we make sure this time we pump it onto Pine Point Beach, where the citizens are asking for it?" And I said, if you were going to beach replenish Saco, why wouldn't you use the Herd Park right away with a bulldozer and a dump truck and take it all out of the right of way onto Avenue 5 and drive it down there? I went down to Old Orchard today just to take a quick look. Michaels, who did our dredge here, is down there. They're pushing sand at Walnut Street. They're bringing sand in.
Michael's is there now.
Yeah, they're bringing sand up by truck and they're dumping it. They did Ocean Park yesterday. And this afternoon, at literally like 3:30, I pulled out by the beach. They were at Walnut Street, literally dumping trucks of sand, dumping on the beach.
300 of them are coming.
Yeah, and I said to the Army Corps, I said, you understand that there is a concrete right of way at Herd Park where you could drive a dump truck on, pump the sand right down onto the beach, put some on the beach and load dump trucks and take as much as you want. She was like, "Oh, that's good to know." So.
Well, another theory I've always had about Pine Point side, they've never put sand there. And I know with Camp Ellis, they built the jetty all the way out, and it was probably the worst thing they could do, because what it was is right straight easterly. And when you get an easterly, it just ran right down that wall right at Camp Ellis and eroded all those houses because they done that.
Right.
But with this, it would be different, so they're very leery about putting, like that jetty, a lot of people say, get rid of the jetty. I say the jetty should go all the way out to the yacht club. And that way there, because all the sand is coming from, and filling in the river, it's coming from, Old Orchard. So if you had the wall there, it would stop the sand from, boiling out in.
Well, the last plan I looked at, this wasn't recent, this was probably it must have been last winter, was when they construct this new jetty off the current jetty at Saco, that's exactly what they're gonna try to do. They're gonna put some arm off that jetty,
Right,
pushing towards Pine Point
Yeah.
to stop that and I don't know how that's gonna affect us here, but
Yeah, that's a
we'll
good
see.
question.
It's about a $30 million project. So,
The secondary arm off that
Yeah.
Saco River.
I think it's like
I think it's even more
26
than
or,
that.
well, I think the first phase is like 26 or 28 million, I think, what I read in appropriations. And then there's the whole beach replenishment is later, like after they put the jetty in, see what happens. Then they're talking like 400 to 500,000 cubic yards of sand, which they took 140,000 out of here. And we could probably give them another 140,000 tomorrow if we really wanted to. So that was the,
That's why you.
so that was,
We were going up and canoe the Saco River in Freiburg. It's a wall of sand,
Yeah.
so really
Yeah.
it came from Freiburg.
Here we go.
so that was the update on the dredge, so more to follow on that. We're in the budget season, I've submitted some budget items to the town. Nothing too crazy. There is some money in an account for pier float replacement from some of the damage that occurred back in the 2023 storm or 2024 storm. So we have some match money there. I need to get with administration to make sure they know what we're putting in. We're probably gonna try to replace some cameras. The cameras down there, we've had some issues down there that we can't see footage. We can't read certain things. I looked at those cameras, they were installed back in like early 2000s. So the technology is old, and we've had a few substantial issues down there where if I can go back and look at it, we had people illegal dumping in the dumpster. We've had we had a skiff taken. We had nothing too crazy, but we've had some shenanigans that if we had some better resolution cameras, we could address that accordingly.
So how much coverage do you have of cameras? Like the parking lot and
It covers the parking lot, the commercial lot,
Yeah.
it covers the runway where these guys drive down, it covers the pier. Covers both the up and down river flow. The problem is at night, those cameras aren't night vision. I mean, they are, but they're not. So it's just time to look at some new technology to see if we can.
Is there any thought or discussion about making a public webcam down
There is. That's part of that. So
there?
what that,
Those are popular, I mean, I would,
people love those, they do.
people love those, I would.
Yeah.
There's one at the Portland Fish Exchange, and I got a call one time from my friend who's a Portland pilot, it's like, hey, what's going on with that camera? I use it all the time to know the conditions of the harbor.
right,
Really? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask, and then
yeah.
it
So
was down
so
for 2 years.
part of the-
Get it fixed.
I had one of the guys that the town uses. He came down and he did a huge assessment. They sent it to the company. I have this huge schematic of like coverage and everything. And there's basically, they're gonna replace like 5 or 6 cameras that'll be internal to here, like IT and me and the P and dispatch. But then there will be one camera that will be web accessible by login. So like,
Can't just go to the harbor master's website and go.
I don't know that yet. We talked,
These should
we talked, IT was a little, like, they're a
be
little,
pretty common in
right.
a lot of places.
Yeah.
so we're gonna see if
You're gonna get traffic.
some of there's some stuff they wanna keep behind the firewall,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna work with them, but the goal I told them was any commercial fisherman or mooring holder
Sure.
will have accessibility to log in,
Yeah.
like, you can log in for your house, he can, anybody has a mooring, like, oh, hey, I'm out of town for a few days.
Yeah.
It's blowing.
Check the boat.
I pick the camera up. I pick the camera up on a cell phone. I can pan, tilt, zoom, look at my boat, be like, hey, 30 seconds, it releases, somebody else picks it up. Or what happens is if you look at your boat
Mhm.
and then your phone rings and you set your phone down,
Yeah.
after like 30 seconds, it releases and then it goes back to what they call a patrol mode and it starts to scan, pan, tilt. That's where the web interface can come in. So there's a lot of technology. So we're working on that through the budget. Not that it's important to you guys, the annual shellfish report was submitted. And the annual working waterfront report was submitted. They were both done. The working waterfront document were required by law to submit. I submitted last week. The shellfish I submitted today. And both of those.
What kind of, items are on?
So the working waterfront document basically says, do you still have a working waterfront? What species fish out of there? out of your working waterfront, so, you know, the whole Scarborough.
Poundage?
How many fish, no poundage, how many boats, how many commercial boats, how many rec boats? What species? What are your mooring fees? What's the volume of your boat ramps, like that kind of stuff. When that goes to DMR, they keep a track of the working waterfront. And then the shellfish report is it's similar, but it's like 18 pages, and they want to know, you know, how many conservation projects you had, and how many crab kills and surveys and crab trapping hours, and so both of those reports were submitted and done. So. Dredging budget, I think that's all I got. Oh, the new boat is.
Yeah, what's going on with the new boat?
It's coming together good. We're gonna go up there this week, hopefully, if not the first of next week. It'll probably be done, I'm guessing, by mid-March. So
Done.
all the electronics are on, the mast is up. We had a bit of a scare with the height issue, but that was, somebody didn't know how to use a measuring tape, right? And said the height of the boat was 12.2, and I said, well, I told you in the spec, it says the boat has to be able to fit into a 12-foot garage door, because we keep the boat at Pine Point. There's no point in keeping it here in the 14-foot door, because if somebody falls in the drink, I can't come up here to get the boat. I have to get the boat now and win the water.
Yeah.
So they, after a fairly stressful text message string back and forth, 20 minutes later called me back and said, we read the tape wrong. It wasn't 12.2, it was 11.2 or whatever it was. I was like, okay, that's much better.
Problem solved.
Humans always.
But it's coming along.
Good.
It's coming along, and it will be, I'm hoping it'll be here by sometime in April.
I think you told me aluminum, twin outboard,
Yeah,
single
yeah.
outboard.
Aluminum, it's all aluminum hull, twin outboard. We didn't opt to go with a cabin. It was just a lot.
You did?
We did not.
Okay.
It's a center console with a roof, but there was a lot of extra money to put, you know, doors and cabins, and we have enough heavy weather equipment. And it's not like we're out in January, February, March. We will go out if we need to go out.
Yep. Luckily, we don't need it.
Right, but the demand, we ran the numbers through the CAD system and all the records management systems with the police and fire department. And really the demand in the wintertime is the duck hunter who gets stranded or something like that. And we wouldn't use that boat for that anyway. We would use the Rigid Hull inflatable or my clam and skiff. That's what we would use. So, but yes, it's coming along good, and it'll be a good addition when we get it. That's all I got.
Good. Yeah, we'll have to have a committee inspection tour of the boat when it shows up.
Do we have to bring Alfred with us too?
Yeah, well, just the token sailing guy.
Where my coach?
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's the Harbor Master's report. Any other questions, comments? No, good, okay. Council Liaisons report. Scott, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. Anything to report from what's going on in the council?
No, same old nothing. Yes. Kind of quiet, winter time's quiet, holidays and all that. I'm trying to think big issues that may be coming up. Nothing much. The first one comes to mind, of course, for me, it's trees, cutting trees, you know, they wanna make it, we have to get a permit to cut a tree. Over a certain boundary. I don't know, who knows what the parameters of it will be, but I think they're talking about not doing it for residential homes, hopefully, it's just be town property, yes.
They still talking
But
30
put
30 by
back
30?
people. Yeah, they wanna do that, yeah, they want conservation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has actually come along, there's been a lot offered up. Land conservation,
Yeah.
so they're getting close, they gave it up.
Yep.
And that's good, that's
I think so.
open space, you know,
Do they include the marsh in that 30 by 30?
no,
They don't.
That's federal land,
I
right?
don't think so.
Yeah.
It's-
I didn't know if they did or they didn't, but
Federal land is, yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's.
And 30 by 30 is new land being donated, marsh is already donated.
Right.
You know, always has been.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't think they would count that. I thought it was new,
Yeah.
only new. Okay.
No, this is any new land being donated to, or sold to the land trust, you know, whatever,
Donated or sold.
yeah. So, yeah. The issues will be coming up, who knows? Tune in.
Tune in. Yeah, I was telling the guys I tuned in randomly one day last week and watched the discussion on the lights at Peterson Field. The readout and all that. That was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Another issue that people have opinions about.
Well, that's another, there's all kinds of issues in town. That's another one that I had, and you know, it's like, when I was a kid, you know, we went up to a field, we didn't know who owned it, but we just mowed it on.
Exactly.
You know, and
The good old
I
days.
suggested that with all of the donated land that we had, the land trust, like Pleasant Hill Road, that was all farm field, that was all about farm and fields, it's grown up to bushes now. But if the kids and whatever, and the coaches want an extra field, give them permission to say, get down there, chop those bushes down, mow them down,
Bush
chop
hog.
them a diamond and use them. You know, the town should give them permission to go ahead and do that. And, you know, we don't have to build a ball field, you know, but anyway, yeah. So we'll see.
Good. Quiet season, exactly.
Home liability.
All right, old business. I just threw this on here because I know we had talked about it, and I just want to kind of keep it top of mind here about the parking project and what's going on with that. I don't think there's anything that's happened recently, but I want to make sure we keep,
There has been.
there's been
Yep.
developments.
So, the community services director, along with the police chief, and, there's a few other people on that committee, are doing an analysis of all the parking and, what the cost will be associated with passport parking and spots. And the reason I know that is because they called me last week or 2 weeks ago about all the spots at the co-op, and we had a very lengthy discussion on how many parking spots and how many boat trailer spots and how many non-commercial and or recreational, commercial, and what do we do with the dirt lot? So they are doing something with that. I just don't know. Well, there was a discussion about enforcement, and so I don't know where it lands.
Yeah.
There's forward momentum through community services. So
Sounds like the window's closing for doing something for this season though, but you never
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, depends on what they have to set up, what they do.
Right.
So, okay, well, good. That's, we may live long enough to see something happen. Maybe.
Or maybe we just, we got enough pay parking, it's nice to be able
Do
to,
nothing?
some places not have to pay, you know, I don't go to Portland. I was born and raised in South Portland, I go to Portland, there's no place. So I'm gonna not go to Pine Point Beach because there's no place to park, like.
It's one of those
Sometimes I
topics.
go down and go to the businesses that are
Yeah.
in Pine Point, but if you have to pay to park, it's like one more hurdle that I like, I don't want to deal with it. Go somewhere else, so I'll stay home.
Yeah, we had some,
Locals should be able to get.
we've had some spirited discussions on the parking topic. We have. Moving right along, didn't have any new business listed on the agenda. Anything that we want to be talking about for the next meeting? Because we're getting to the point here, set the next agenda and things are kind of quiet. It's the off season. As always,
Off season for some.
for some, yeah, for some. But otherwise, we didn't meet last month. I think we can go every other month again. So this is what, January? So we're probably
Back in March.
back in March, I would think. I don't think we have anything pressing for February.
March, maybe April.
Yeah, I don't really.
March, so we can hear about the vote.
Yeah,
Free
right
boat
on
rides.
the boat right now. I don't really, there's, the only thing that's on the hopper for me right now is I'm waiting for the permit for DEP, which is a very lengthy, a lengthy process to put one float in, so we have additional skip
Yeah.
time, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
I got an email like last week, said you might be at your permit by like March 26th, and I was like, really? Like, I put this in, I started the process in September, you know?
Bureaucracy, yeah.
So they'll be in the, they'll be in budget season in February anyway, so.
So speaking of DEP, any chatter about the marsh and Pine Point Road flooding?
Nothing yet.
Right.
They did a bunch of core drilling by the nature center and by,
And Jones?
by Angelons in last year, and they did a bunch of core drilling, and that was. I'd have to talk to Angela Blanchett, the town engineer, but I know that was something about raising the roads and potentially,
Yeah, there was some crazy talk there for.
oh, there was some really crazy talk, like,
Alright,
5 feet or some crazy thing.
well, they talked about like 15 feet, and then they.
15?
Yeah, they
I
talked.
didn't hear that.
you have a project, new project, I think it's.
We'll
There
be
was-
covered.
There was some conversation about taking from Tractor Supply to the Dunstan intersection. Turning
That's the
it
high ground.
into 2 lanes. And I was like,
Yeah.
2 lanes, have you driven through there?
Wait,
Any
Cut
time
it
of
down
day?
to 2 lanes?
Two
That'd be
lanes.
Well,
stupid.
they're gonna have to during construction.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but I thought to myself, if you're gonna take, I mean, how long have I lived in this town now? Probably the better part of 30 years. And I have never in my entire adult life thought 2 lanes across the marsh would be a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I mean, we get one accident on the turnpike southbound, it's backed up from,
Yeah,
Scarborough Downs to Dunstan.
It's backed up to Tractor Supply at 5 o'clock.
it is at 5 o'clock, you're right.
Right.
One little hiccup.
So I don't know, and then they had another discussion. I was at some meeting back. This was probably over a year ago. And they were talking about bike lanes and all this other stuff, which is fine, but like,
Not a priority, but
right, I mean, let's
Should be.
let's focus on moving the traffic down Route 1.
did any Scarborough assets get called into the Portland fire?
Yes,
Really?
yeah, a bunch of Scarborough assets got called in to be a station coverage for Portland.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That was a wild one.
that was craziness.
Cold. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a few, there were a few people that there were a few people that I knew that had their boats right there. And I saw it came across my phone from here and I was like, I called one guy and I'm like, hey, you better call these guys and sure enough, they went down and moved some stuff, so.
Yeah.
One of those boats that are electronics got fried by the heat. I know Maine Coast Fishermen is doing like a
Yeah, they're doing a benefit.
benefit
Wow.
situation.
Yeah, coming right up, they're doing like a concert.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I think it's the end of January. They're doing something at Aura. That's what they were doing.
Don't worry, yeah, sold out, yeah. So I know one guy got his boat skiff sunk outward, one of the spears, and then 2 other boats got flooded with. Must have been seawater from the pumps, and I'm like, the great good was involved here, right? Like unfortunately, that's collateral damage. But I guess Parker Pool did a lot of cowboy work and got a lot of boats out of it.
Yeah, he did.
He's up for like an accommodation, which I signed on for. Quite the skilled salvage guy,
He is.
and got some boats out of there, would have been a lot worse.
All right. Anything else? Further discussion, stories? Using sailboaters?
Yes.
Whatever we want to do. Good. I think we are probably all set then. Motion to adjourn. Motion, second. All right, unanimous as always.